about feeling love. I've read a book titled Animals Feel Emotions, and I found it pretty interesting. Wanting to learn more, I researched on it. Here I'm gonna show you what I found out. The author of this book is convinced that animals feel love as well as many other emotions. Many pet owners and people who work with animals agree with this. However, many scientists do not go along with this idea. To them, what people consider animal emotions are really instincts. Instincts are built-in behavior animals do without thinking that are designed to keep them alive. In this book, there are amazing stories about animals that they aren't just behaving on instincts. The stories include tales of loyalty, friendship, tenderness, compassion, and parental care. I'm going to introduce to you some of them. First, let me bring you the elephant story. Echo was the highest ranking female in a herd of African elephants being filmed for a wildlife movie. Soon after, she gave birth to a male calf. It became clear that the baby was unable to stand. His front legs were bent at the wrist joints, and he couldn't straighten them. He kept raising himself up on his hind legs, but couldn't get his front legs to work properly. Echo tried to lift the calf with her trunk, but he simply couldn't walk. An elephant herd depends on its head female for leadership. It was soon time for the herd to move on to search for food. But the young calf would never be able to keep up since he couldn't walk. Echo didn't want to be separated from the herd, but she refused to abandon her new son, Ellie. Elephants can survive for several days without food and water, but it's a big risk to stay in one place for too long. Echo had to choose between the herd and her son. While most of the herd left to search for a new watering hole, Echo and her daughter Enid stayed with Ellie. It was hot, and they were soon out of food and water. Echo and Enid managed to move Ellie to a small mud hole to splash themselves in the calf with water. Again, Echo tried to get Ellie with his feet, but he screamed. Because he couldn't stand, Ellie was unable to nurse properly. The little guy was soon close to starving. Echo still did not abandon him. Somehow, the calf survived for 2 days. On the third day, he started putting the bottoms of his feet on the ground and trying to stand up. He kept standing, falling, and trying again. Amazingly, Ellie was eventually able to walk, and the three found and met up with the rest of their herd. The filmmaker figured out that the calf was so large that his front legs were locked in an unnatural position while inside his mother. Somehow, Echo knew that Ellie just needed time to stretch his legs and get them moving properly. His patient, loving mother risked her life to give the calf just what it needed to survive. The author is certain that Echo clearly felt love for her son, and I'm on the author's side. How about you? Do you think they have feelings? If you're not sure, I will tell you another story. Emperor penguins live in Antarctica, which has one of the harshest climates on Earth. In March, these penguins migrate 100 miles on foot or by belly sliding to their nesting ground. After arriving, the colony huddles together to survive freezing temperatures and high winds. Each penguin also chooses a mate. In May or early June, a female lays an egg and places it on her feet to prevent it from touching the ground and freezing. As soon as the male sees the egg, he begins singing ecstatically. The female joins him in song, and the pair sing together for as long as an hour as they stare at the egg. After singing, the female carefully passes the egg to the male. He supports it on his feet and covers it with a flap of belly skin to keep it warm. He protects the egg from harm while the female treks back to the ocean to feed. In her absence, the male eats nothing for nearly 4 months through a brutal winter while balancing the egg on his feet and barely moving. The egg hatches in August. When the female returns from the sea, she sings and dances when she locates the male. She is even more excited to hear her chick peeping and quickly takes it onto her feet. The male takes off for the ocean and the promise of a good meal after a long, hard winter of babysitting. During the next few months, Mom and Dad take turns traveling up to 50 miles back to the ocean to feed. The penguin chick is always in the watchful, loving care of one of its parents, who shows their love by always keeping their chicks safe. After reading these stories, I was almost convinced that animals really do have emotions. It seems they love each other. However, on the other hand, before definitely setting my mind, I wanted to make sure what the Bible teaches on this subject. So I asked some of the teachers, and finally I saw the light. The Bible tells us animals have a body, a soul, and a spirit. Since feelings are in the area of soul, we could say animals have emotions. Here are some of the references in the Bible. In Psalm 74:1, it is written, "Soul of thy turtle dove." And Revelation 16:3, it says, "Every living soul." And in Numbers 31:28, we can see they count animals by the word soul. Like all the Bible believers, the Bible is the final authority for me, so I would like to say there is a high possibility that animals have feelings. Not like people who reject the Bible, we can know scientific facts from the Bible such as round shape of the earth, wind circulation, water circulation, Earth's interior, and so on. Making this presentation was an amazing opportunity to learn how wonderful my God, the Creator. I'm so grateful that I am a Bible believer. Thank you.